Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're a follower of C9's content, whether you found us through the podcast or you're a regular reader of the business page, we really prioritize practical strategy.
We don't just report on the tech. We're here to translate it into dollars and, into risks for Australian business owners.
I'm Lex, and with me, as always, is Vera. And today, we are diving headfirst into what's arguably the most critical shift in web architecture since mobile responsive design.
We are talking about React Server Components, or RSC. And look, this isn't some minor patch or a trendy update. For executives planning their 2026 digital strategy, this is absolutely foundational. It's what will determine profitability.
And we have to start with a pretty uncomfortable truth, one we've pulled directly from the source data. If you are currently running a traditional client-side React application, it is, and there's no other way to put this, it's acting as a silent profit killer.
And we can quantify that risk. We've aggregated data from Australian e-commerce platforms, sort of, your typical $2 million annual revenue business.
And what did that data show?
It showed that a seemingly minor performance issue, a 3-second delay in page load time, that's not just an annoyance. It actively translates to a loss of $167,000 in revenue every single year.
That is a staggering amount of money to just be leaving on the table. So our mission today is very focused. We're going to uncover first precisely why your legacy React app is costing you 25 to 40% more.
Then we'll outline the measurable ROI of shifting to RSC, which you can often see in, 90 days?
And finally, and this is crucial, we'll give you the warnings you need to avoid the financial pitfalls of rushing into cheap, untested fixes.
Let's start with that performance penalty, because that $167,000 figure is really just the beginning. The core issue with traditional React is what we call JavaScript bloat.
Bloat is putting it mildly. Your traditional app forces the customer's device, their phone, to download this enormous data package. We're talking 2 to 5 megabytes of JavaScript before they could even do anything.
Right. It's like your customer wants to buy one thing, but you force them to download the blueprints for the entire warehouse just to see the shopping cart.
And that hits our Australian demographic the hardest, doesn't it?
It does. We know 67% of all Australian digital traffic is on mobile. And when those users hit that massive JavaScript payload, they're waiting, sometimes 5, even 8 seconds for the site to become interactive. That wait time, it's the conversion killer.
And the source material on this is it's unequivocal. We've all heard that 53% of users abandon a site if it takes longer than 3 seconds to load.
But let's get even more granular. The data shows that for every 100 millisecond delay, you lose 1% in conversions.
So for a $2 million business, that's $20,000. For a tenth of a second, you are literally paying for every millisecond of performance debt.
We saw this with Melbourne's-based SaaS provider. Their time to interactive, or TTI, which is, when you can actually click a button, it was averaging 8.2 seconds. They calculated that this one issue was costing them $320,000 in annual recurring revenue. People were just giving up.
And beyond just losing sales, there's another factor here, one that's unique to our region. You call it the Australian geographic penalty.
Yes, because our local hosting costs are already 30 to 50% higher than in the US or Europe.
Okay.
When you combine that with legacy React, you're creating a cost trap. You're forcing your CDN to deliver 3 to 5 megabytes of data for every page view instead of the lean 200 kilobytes that RSC provides. You're multiplying your already high costs.
So you're overpaying for wasted data. And on top of that, there's the SEO crisis. Google's Core Web Vitals they're not suggestions anymore.
No, they're non-negotiable ranking factors.
Yeah.
And when we talk about Core Web Vitals, -EP, CLS, FID, we're talking about the exact metrics Google uses to decide if you belong on page 1.
So if your site is slow, Google isn't just ignoring you, it's actively penalizing you.
Precisely, which creates the severe competitive reality. If your competitor in Sydney adopts RSC and gets excellent Core Web Vitals, they will outrank you. It can happen in 3 to 6 months.
If you get that top spot back.
It's 5 to 10 times more expensive than the initial investment would have been.
So let's map this out, the real cost of waiting. Because the danger here is in the delay. The source material outlines this disastrous spiral for businesses that hold out starting in 2026.
The scenario is grim, but it's predictable. By Q2 2026, your competitors are taking your top keyword spots, your organic traffic starts to decline, maybe 18%.
And by the end of the year?
By Q4, that decline deepens to 34%, but your infrastructure costs, because of that bloat we mentioned, are somehow up 22%.
That is a lethal combination. So what should have been a strategic investment of, say, $120,000 in Q1?
It suddenly becomes a $380,000 emergency rescue mission by Q4, just to stop the bleeding.
Okay, let's put a final number on that. The total annual opportunity cost for a typical $3 million Aussie business.
Factoring in lost sales, higher fees, catch-up SEO, you're looking at a number between $780,000 and $1.72 million per year.
Waiting isn't prudence, it's deferred profit sacrifice. So if the cost of not doing this is that high, we have to look at the solution. Here's where it gets really strategic. What do React server components actually do?
We've used that IKEA analogy. Traditional React sends the whole warehouse and makes you build the furniture. React server components, it completely reverses that process.
So you deliver the fully assembled bookshelf, ready to go. But we've heard promises about server-side rendering before. What makes RSC different?
That's a great question. The difference is what the client actually receives. Previous solutions, they often still shipped a lot of JavaScript. RC lets us run components only on the server, removing them entirely from what the customer has to download.
Meaning my customer's phone isn't bogged down running logic it doesn't even need.
Exactly. Instead of sending 2 to 5 megabytes of JavaScript, the server sends just the final lightweight HTML. We're talking 200 to 500 kilobytes. The content just appears instantly.
Let's talk business benefits, the ones that really move the needle. First up, revenue growth.
You're getting 40 to 60% faster page loads. That translates directly into a 15 to 35% improvement in conversion rates. For that same $2 million business, that's an immediate gain of $300,000 to $700,000 in new annual revenue.
That's not just optimization, that's unlocking new money. And then there's cost reduction. It's a powerful 1-2 punch.
It is. Executives love this part. You see a reliable 25 to 40% drop in hosting costs. Why? Because you're saving 50 to 70% on bandwidth. That $8,000 a month infrastructure bill, it can drop to under $5,000.
And there's an internal gain too, right? Operational efficiency.
A huge one. Your developers aren't wrestling with complex client-side state all the time. This simpler architecture means 30 to 50% faster feature development. You're shipping critical features faster, and you're staying ahead of that competitive curve.
Okay, so this raises a really important question. If the solution is so clear and the ROI is so huge, why do we hear these horror stories about projects failing? The sources give a very specific warning about this.
The warning is about what we call the AI cowboy problem. These are, developers or small agencies who use AI tools to generate code they don't actually understand. They're basically vibes coding. It looks right, but the foundation is rotten.
They promise speed and a bargain price.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when that instability hits in a live environment?
Well, you might pay an initial $40,000 or $80,000 for something that is, in reality, a massive ticking liability. When it crashes under load, or worse, a security hole appears, you're then forced to pay for a complete professional rebuild.
So you end up paying double or triple what a reputable firm would have charged in the first place.
We saw this happen with a Brisbane fintech startup. They wanted to cut costs, so they hired a freelancer for $35,000. Within weeks of launch, the app was crashing, but it was worse than that. Severe data leaks exposed sensitive customer information, and the freelancer vanished.
What was the final bill to clean up that mess?
When C9 audited the system, we found 847 critical security issues. The total damage was $225,000. That was the initial $35,000, plus $140,000 for the professional rebuild, and about $50,000 in lost revenue and other costs.
All to try and save a bit of money up front. So what does this all mean for the C-level executive who's looking for a low-risk, high ROI investment? The path to success starts with strategy, and the first step is non-negotiable.
Discovery. Skipping discovery is the #1 reason these projects fail or go way over budget. It's not an optional sales exercise, it's pure risk mitigation. A proper discovery process prevents $50,000 to $200,000 in project overruns.
How does it do that?
It converts uncertainty into certainty. Discovery takes maybe 4 to 6 hours over a week or two, but it transforms that indicative pricing, which can be off by 50%, into discovery-based pricing, which is accurate to within 5%. That budget clarity is invaluable.
The other big concern for executives is cost, especially the high cost of exclusively Australian-based development. Is there a way to get quality while being more efficient?
Absolutely. The modern approach, which we use at C9, is a hybrid model. It's designed for efficiency without ever sacrificing quality or local accountability.
Break that down for us. What does that blend look like?
So we keep the most specialized roles, your architects, project managers, business analysts onshore in Australia. That's about 30 to 40% of the effort. This guarantees strategic guidance and clear communication.
And the development work.
The bulk of the development, 60 to 70%, is done by our senior offshore development team. This allows you to drive down the cost dramatically.
So a project that might cost, say, $345,000 purely onshore
Is delivered with the C9 hybrid model for significantly less. That's money the executive can reallocate to new features or R&D. It's onshore leadership with offshore efficiency.
And crucially, you're not locked into a vendor forever. Knowledge transfer has to be part of the deal.
It has to be non-negotiable. Our process ensures your in-house team becomes fully competent with the new architecture. We do documentation, code review workshops, pair programming. The goal is simple. Reduce your external dependency by 60 to 80%. You need to own your digital infrastructure.
And finally, for the executive who might be hesitant about a big upfront cost, there's a staged approach.
Yes. Discovery helps us identify opportunities to phase the project for a quick payback. Instead of rebuilding everything at once, stage 1 might focus only on your highest impact pages.
So you get an early win.
Exactly. That initial investment can deliver an 8 to 15% conversion lift right away, generating $40,000 to $75,000 in new revenue fast. You use those early wins to fund the later stages. You de-risk the whole transformation.
Okay, let's bring this all together. We've looked at the huge cost of waiting, the massive revenue opportunity, and the clear strategic path forward.
The opportunity really can't be overstated. A conservative financial model for a typical Australian SME. It yields a minimum of $505,000 in annual benefit. And with the staged approach, the payback period is often just 2 to 4 months. That's an incredible ROI.
That kind of business case demands action. So what's your final thought for our listeners who might be sitting on this decision?
Technology does not wait for your budget cycle. React server components are defining the competitive landscape right now. The future belongs to the fast. Will you seize this $500,000 opportunity and lead, or will you follow, or ultimately get left behind?
The strategic choice and that immense annual opportunity is entirely in your hands. If you are ready to stop hemorrhaging profits and secure your 2026 digital advantage, the next step is straightforward. Book your free 30-minute consultation with C9.
We are C9 Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company. We specialize in transforming Australian businesses with these kinds of cutting-edge technologies.
You can find all the details and book that consultation at our website, www.c9.com.au.
Stop paying the silent profit killer. Start investing in performance.
Thank you for joining us for this crucial deep dive. If this was valuable, remember to click that follow button, and please share this with other C-level executives who can benefit from this analysis. We'll talk to you next time.